Hi, everyone, and welcome to our new podcast.
Yeah, hello. We're so happy you're here.
Today, we're going to talk about something super important for English learners.
Absolutely. It's all about how to practice speaking English when you're by yourself at home.
Exactly, because sometimes, it can feel a bit strange to just talk to yourself.
I totally get it, but trust us, it's a really good way to improve.
So, Lily, where should beginners even start?
Well, Roy, I think the easiest thing is to just start talking about your day.
Like what you did in the morning?
Exactly. For example, you can say, I woke up, then I made coffee. Simple things like that.
That makes sense. It's like a mental exercise, right?
Yeah, totally. And you don't have to worry about making mistakes.
That's a big one for beginners, the fear of mistakes.
I know. But when you're alone, there's no one to judge you.
Good point. So just talk about everyday activities.
Yes. Or you can describe things around your house.
Oh, like this is a table. It is brown.
Exactly. And you can add more detail as you get more comfortable. This is a brown wooden table. It has 4 legs.
That's a good idea. It helps you think in English.
It really does. Another thing you can do is talk to your pets if you have them.
That's funny, but it probably works, right?
It really does. They don't care if your English isn't perfect.
True. So talking about your day, describing objects, and talking to pets.
And another good one is reading aloud.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's helpful.
It really is. You can take a book or an article, even a children's story, and just read it out loud.
Does it matter what kind of book?
Not really, but maybe start with something easy to understand.
Okay, that makes sense. So you hear the words and you say them.
Exactly. And you can pay attention to how the words sound.
That's a good tip for pronunciation.
Definitely. And you can also try to repeat things you hear in English movies or TV shows.
Oh, like mimicking the actors?
Yeah, exactly. Try to copy their intonation and rhythm.
That sounds a bit difficult, though, for beginners.
It can be, but just try your best. Even a little bit helps.
Okay, I see what you mean. Just have a go.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to sound silly.
Because no one is listening, right?
That's right. You're in a safe space at home.
So, to recap, we've got talking about your day,
Describing things around you,
chatting with your furry friends,
reading English out loud.
and trying to copy what you hear in English media.
Yeah, and you can also record yourself speaking
Oh, that's interesting. Why would you do that?
because it can help you hear how you actually sound.
That might be a bit scary for some people.
I know, but it can be really helpful for identifying areas you want to improve.
That's a good point. It's like getting feedback, but from yourself.
Exactly. And you can do it as often or as little as you like.
So no pressure then.
Exactly. Just do what feels comfortable for you.
What about thinking in English? Is that something beginners can do at home?
It is, but it takes practice. Start with simple thoughts.
Like instead of thinking, I am hungry, think, I am hungry in English?
Exactly. Try to translate your thoughts into English as much as possible.
That sounds challenging, but I can see how it would help.
It really does. And don't worry if you don't know a word. You can always look it up later.
Good idea. So it's a constant learning process.
Absolutely. And the more you practice at home, the more confident you'll feel when you speak to other people.
That's the ultimate goal, right? To be able to communicate easily.
Exactly. And practicing at home is a great first step.
So for all the beginners out there, don't be shy.
Yeah, just give it a try. Even a few minutes of practice each day can make a big difference.
And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Absolutely. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers sometimes.
So be patient with yourself and have fun with it.
Yes, make it a game. See how many things you can describe in English.
Or how many sentences you can say about your morning routine.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless.
This has been really helpful, Lily. Thanks for all the great tips.
You're welcome, Roy. And thanks to all our listeners for tuning in.
We hope this episode has given you some ideas on how to practice speaking English at home.
Remember, practice makes perfect, as they say.
That's a great saying to remember. Practice makes perfect.
So don't be afraid to use your voice, even when you're alone.
It's your own private, English speaking practice zone.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the easier and more natural it will become.
So keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking.
We're here to support you on your English learning journey.
And we'll be back with more helpful tips in our next episode.
So until then, happy practicing.
Goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, Lily, I think we've covered some really good starting points for beginners,
I agree, Roy. We talked about simple things they can do every day.
like just narrating their actions, you know?
Exactly. I am opening the door. I am sitting on the chair.
It might feel silly at first, but it's effective.
Totally. And it helps build those basic sentence structures in your mind.
What about if someone feels they have nothing to talk about?
Well, they can pick an object in the room and describe it in detail.
For instance, a lamp?
Yeah. This is a lamp. It has a white shade and a silver base. It gives light.
And they can try to use different adjectives, right?
Absolutely. It's a bright lamp or it's a modern lamp.
That's a good way to expand their vocabulary too.
Definitely. And reading aloud, we touched on that, but it's so important
Why do you think it's so effective?
because you're seeing the words, saying the words, and hearing yourself say them.
If it's engaging multiple senses, that makes sense.
Exactly. And it helps with fluency and pronunciation.
So even just a page a day would be beneficial.
Definitely, even less if they're just starting out.
And the TV show or movie mimicking, that's a fun one.
It is, and it helps you get a feel for natural English conversation.
You can hear how native speakers actually talk.
Yeah, the rhythm, the intonation, all of that good stuff.
But it's important not to get discouraged if it's hard at first.
Absolutely. It takes time and practice, just like anything else.
And recording yourself, that's brave, but probably very useful.
It can be. It allows you to be your own teacher in a way.
You can hear things you might not notice otherwise.
Exactly. You might say a word slightly differently than you thought you did.
And then you can focus on improving that.
Precisely. And thinking in English, that's the next level, right?
It is. It means you're really starting to process the language directly,
Instead of translating from your first language.
which can be a slow process.
Exactly. So starting with simple thoughts is key.
Like, I need to drink water.
Exactly. Or the sun is shining.
Just those little everyday internal thoughts.
Yeah. And gradually you can build up to more complex thought.
It's all about taking small steps, isn't it?
Absolutely. Don't try to do too much too soon.
Be kind to yourself in the learning process.
Yes. It's a journey, not a race.
And the more you practice at home alone, the more confident you'll feel when speaking with others.
That's the big reward, being able to communicate effectively.
So, home practice is like your secret weapon.
Exactly. Your private English speaking gym.
I like that. Your English speaking gym at home.
So beginners, go get your workout.
Yeah. Start practicing those English speaking muscles.
Even just 5 minutes a day is better than nothing.
Consistency is really important, right?
Absolutely. Little and often is the key.
Well, I think we've given them a lot of great ideas
I hope so. And I hope they feel encouraged to try these things.
because anyone can improve their English speaking with practice.
Definitely. It just takes a little bit of effort and consistency.
And don't forget to have fun while you're doing it.
Yes. Learning a language should be enjoyable.
So find what works best for you and stick with it.
And don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques
That's right. What works for one person might not work for another.
to find your own way to practice and improve.
And remember, we're here to support you on your journey.
We believe in you. You can do it.
Okay, Lily, I think we're getting close to the end of our time.
Yeah, it went by quickly.
So let's just quickly review the main points we talked about.
Sure thing, Roy.
We started by saying it's totally normal to feel a bit awkward talking to yourself.
But it's a really effective way to practice without any pressure.
Then we suggested talking about your day, simple things you do,
Like what you eat, what you see, your daily routine.
and describing objects around your house. Using descriptive words
Remembering to add details as you become more confident.
And of course, talking to your pets if you have them.
Your furry, non-judgmental language partners.
We also talked about the benefits of reading English aloud.
For improving pronunciation, fluency, and even understanding.
And mimicking what you hear in English movies or TV shows.
To get a better feel for natural English conversation.
Then we touched on the idea of recording yourself speaking,
which can be super helpful for identifying areas for improvement.
And finally, the slightly more advanced technique of thinking in English.
Starting with simple thoughts and gradually building up.
So a lot of practical things beginners can try at home.
Exactly. And none of them require any special equipment or a partner.
Which is perfect for practicing anytime, anywhere in your house.
That's the beauty of it. You can do it in the shower, while cooking.
Even just before you go to sleep.
Yep. Any little bit of practice helps.
So remember to be patient with yourself.
And celebrate your progress, no matter how small it seems.
Because every little step forward is a victory.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Mistakes are just opportunities to learn and improve.
That's a great way to look at it, Roy.
So thank you again to everyone for listening.
We really appreciate you tuning in.
We hope you found these tips helpful for your English learning journey.
And we encourage you to try some of these techniques at home.
Even if it feels a little strange at first, stick with it.
You'll be surprised at how quickly you can improve.
And remember, the more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
And confidence is key when learning a new language.
So keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep speaking.
We'll be back soon with another episode full of helpful tips.
Until then, take care and happy practicing.
Bye for now, everyone.